And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. This is a directed network, and I'm net control. If at any time during this net should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our Qso-Vlog network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the loudest, best-sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the Qso-Vlog network with the phrase, if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. And today we're currently featuring over 2,000 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. And you can access these recordings by going to YouTube and doing a call letter search for KC9VKV followed by the word logbook. That's KC9VKV followed by the word logbook. And we also have a new series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. These are some of our less technical, more human nature, philosophical kinds of QSOs, such as one of my favorite segments called Something to Crow About, featuring Kenny and his master modulating rooster, Henry. You'll have to check it out. KC9VKV Highlights on a YouTube search. Our mission statement for the network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also in this selector is our local receiver audio. And today our local receiver is running 3 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed at 0 degrees, one aimed at 90 degrees, and the other is aimed at 134 degrees. In addition, 2 of the 3 may be rotated separately. They are selected by a 6-position rotary selector. Also today on the transmit side, we'll be running our no SWR specially oriented resonant dipole antenna. One leg of this resonant dipole is broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg is broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today we'll be running our input source indicator. So when we switch from an internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube Qso-Vlog video. And as we come together for another Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network, let us pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you'll protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history, with dark clouds all around, we pray that you'll reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters. And through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, since this is an area of the band where we have many nets trying to operate in a very confined area, I would appreciate all stations checking into our Qso-Vlog net to have their bandpass no wider than 100 to 2900. Again, please, no wider than 100 to 2900. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And now let's check in and see if Charlie K1GZL is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up north in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, Jim. I have a very, very good copy. You're running 9 to 10 over direct, as I don't have, of course, any SDR. Very cloudy outside, and the temperature is 52 degrees. The normal high is about 35. So it's melting snow, and it has been for the last 2 days, but the snow is all over the ground here still, about at least 95% covered, and in some places up to 15 plus inches, other spots a lot less. Had a nice chat with Captain Mike as he was flying northward toward Miami, Florida. He had just passed Honduras, Central America, and passing over the very western edge of Cuba, heading toward Miami, and this was about 3 or 4 days ago. If you're copying okay, I'll put on Captain Mike. I think he was at about 35,000 feet. Go ahead.
Roger, roger, Charlie. Well, I'm on the Milford, and you're doing 35 over on Milford, so go ahead.
On the Milford, and you're doing 35 over on Milford, so go ahead.
Okay, I hope this works. Once in a while, the cabling into the cassette doesn't work, and I have to finagle it, but let's see. Well, wait a minute. Just a minute, I've got a problem here. This would happen right now.
There, and we're just north of Santa Clara. Sure. Right now we're showing 536 miles south of Miami. We're just about 180 miles on the north of the shoreline from Honduras, and about looks like just under 300 miles south of the northwestern part of Cuba. But great copy on you there. We're at 38,000. 38 right now. We were getting bounced around pretty good earlier, but temperature up here is minus 54 degrees, and a little bit of a headwind, showing about 417 knots. But great copy on you, Charlie. You're doing better than you were this afternoon, so it's good to hear you. And K1GZL, KX4, Whiskey Charlie. Well, Whiskey Charlie on the ground, 20 meters, and facing kind of to the west-southwest here. But not nearly as strong as you were earlier, Charlie. You're about a 555.
Okay, I believe he was on the ground in Miami on the end of that. I hope that came through, Jim. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, roger, Charlie. Yes, fine and dandy. You're going to have to work on that connector. I would get the snips out and snip that old connector and put a new connector in there and then Siamese cables back together, Roger.
Connector in there and then Siamese cables back together, Roger.
Yeah, it doesn't happen too often, but it happens when I least expect it. When I least expect it. Yeah, okay, that's something I'm going to have to work on. So, I won't hold it too long. I won't hold it too long. There may be many stations trying to work you there. The band is very, very crowded today. So, however, I think you'll do very, very well. KC9VKV, of course, daylight time, sunsets a lot later, and the skip will be a little bit shorter, and the distance, you're far enough away, way down there in southern Indiana near Louisville, Kentucky, that there is more absorption in the ionosphere. KC9VKV, K1GZ, always a pleasure.
Roger, Charlie 73 up that way, sir. Fine report, and thanks for joining us. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. And this is just a reminder, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net is in progress. My name is Jim, KC9VKV, and I'm better known in some circles as Dr. VKV, and we are recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days, so when you go to YouTube, just do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. That'll take you to our YouTube Qso-Vlog page. And we're currently featuring over 2,000 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. This recording will be cut number 1 in that series. And we also have a new series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. These are some of our less technical, more human nature, philosophical kinds of Qso-Vlog segments, so you might check that out. Anyway, this is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Qso-Vlog net, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
KC9VKV, here is Kilo Bravo 2, Juliet Mike.
Roger, Juliet Mike. What's the name there?
Roger, Juliet Mike. What's the name there?
Roger. The name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and the call is Kilo Bravo 2, Juliet Mike. Located in western New York, 20 miles east of Niagara Falls. And I just stumbled across you this afternoon, and that's pretty interesting. So my audio will be up on YouTube in a number of days. Is that correct? Over.
Roger, usually by noon tomorrow. We try to get it up there by noon. Roger.
Noon tomorrow. We try to get it up there by noon. Roger.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you very much. And do you do this quite often?
Just Friday afternoons between 3:30 and 5. We do our setup procedure. I'm looking at your audio now and looking really good. You have a 3 dB dynamic range, which is what we strive for in our setup procedure. And your audio curve is nice and intelligible. Not a lot of stuff on the low end, and that's the way I prefer it, because there's so many things that can happen to audio on the way from here to there, and a lot of them have to do with top end problems. So by not having a real heavy bottom end, you can afford to lose a little top end there and still sound great. Roger?
You can afford to lose a little top end there and still sound great. Roger?
Roger on that. Okay. Yeah, well, I do have this set up for the contest I was in a couple of weeks ago, and probably haven't gone back to my rack Q settings, but we're not running anything real elaborate here. It's a high-old headset with the ICM cartridge, and it's an ICOM 7610. We're not running any kind of
Roger, Jim. Well, Milford is playing with me. I use a Milford SDR a lot, just as because Milford is such an outstanding SDR receiver, internet receiver, so we use them. Let me bring them back up again real quick here. And let's see, it won't take but a second here. He said, yeah, here we go. So they have a like a 30-minute rule or whatever that is, and I try to get them up by 15 after to be sure they're there. So anyway, so you're running a 7610, not a Roger?
So you're running a 7610, not a Roger? Yes, we purchased this radio about 4 months ago, and still learning it and enjoying it immensely. And like I said, we're not running any kind of outboard processing whatsoever. Just the Heil ICM cartridge and whatever the radio will allow me to do. Over.
Roger. Now you have a control called Peak. I believe that is on the kind of to the right-hand side or center on that radio.
No, I have to go into the menu to change the audio if I need to do that. There is a audio peak for CW, but that's over on the far right-hand side of the rig, and I'm not much of a CW fan.
Yes, Roger. This would lead you to drive, whichever. I thought it was peak. I could be wrong there, but it goes to drive. Do you know where drive is?
Yeah, you're talking the mic gain.
No, this is called drive, and it's I thought it was through quick. You have a control called quick.
Oh yes, I do, and there is a drive gain there, and that's something I haven't seen before.
Yes, sir. And what is your drive showing?
50%.
All right. If you would be interested, you could move that up to 65 and pick up probably about 15% more peak level. Roger?
More peak level, Roger? Okay. Well, there we go. There's 65% now. And you're teaching me something about the radio I didn't know.
Yes, sir. Well, now, it's going to cost you. Do you have a radio story that you might give us for our efforts?
A radio story? Is that what you want?
Yeah, everybody's got a million radio stories. We just, your audio sounds so good, I'd love for you to give me about 30, 40, 50 seconds on a little radio story so we can get a little bit more of your audio recorded.
Okay. I guess the one story that immediately comes to mind is my nephew, who was only a year younger than me. He and I got licensed together, and we did a lot of operating together. And unfortunately, he passed away several years ago from lung cancer, and so I miss him quite a bit. And that's a sad story. But being off the cuff, that's the quickest one that I could come up with. But I have to give him a lot of credit for getting me interested and keeping me interested in the sport here of amateur radio.
Roger. Well, we all have our Elmers. That's one of the things about ham radio that is so unique. No other hobby, I think, has quite an extensive and Elmer program as ham radio, Roger. So, are you fairly happy with the way the radio is set up here? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I wouldn't change a thing. Well, I have this thing about the top end. I always prefer a couple of more clicks of treble EQ just to help along the way. You know, we never have absolutely perfect conditions. There's always some degradation to the signal, and so a little more top end articulation always seems to me to be in vogue when you're fighting 2 dB above somebody's noise level, or you got 7 stations on top of you. You know, the more articulation your audio has, the easier it is for them to understand. I think the better off we are.
Okay. All right. Well, that's understandable. And that's all the way to the top on treble. That's +5 on treble. And the bass is down to a -2, a -2.
Roger, Roger. And like I say, I'm copying you on Milford, and Milford, as so many SDRs, does roll out at about 250 cycles. It does not go down too flat. There is one that does, Arlington. The Arlington SDR seems to go down to 100 cycles, so I use that quite often, and it does a really good job, Roger.
Roger. Okay, very good. Well, Jim, I really appreciate the time you spent with me and helping me learn a little bit more about the radio and getting it set up properly. I don't want to be selfish here, and if there's anyone else that wants to get in here, maybe we had better let them do that, Roger.
Roger, appreciate it, sir. You have a good afternoon and a beautiful weekend. 73 up there way in New York, and like I say, we'll have this uploaded to YouTube, and probably by noon tomorrow. That's usually our goal, and so we'll hopefully stick to this. So 73, have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Victor, Echo 3, Papa, Charlie, Papa.
Papa, Charlie, Papa. No long time no here. How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Today than you were a week or two ago, that's for sure. So you must be getting over whatever was ailing you. KC9VKV, B3PCB.
Roger, Roger. Well, you know, today you can't take a chance, so I did perform one of those tests, but it came back. Yeah, well, it didn't come back. It was a local test, so it was negative. So, but it was one of those weak things, and I feel a whole lot better. And I'm assuming I sound a whole lot better today.
Yeah, not quite so much rasp in your voice, so sounding more like yourself, Qso.
Roger, PCP. What radio are you running today, sir?
I'm on my remote station. I'm driving home from work, so using my remote home and connecting through over the internet from my cell phone in the truck, Qso.
Alrighty, well, what's the unit at your home?
It is a Kenwood TS850S.
TS850S, Roger, sounds good, sir, and your connection is very intelligible, so, sounds great, Roger.
Yeah, Qso. Yeah, we've gone through this before and got everything set up, and I did reply to your email there today, so I don't know whether you read it yet or not.
Roger. All right, well, let me let you go, sir. Thanks for checking in, Roger.
Yeah, Qso, very good. Yeah, just, shoot me an email whenever you want to do that on-air setup, and we'll certainly be more than happy to help you with that, Qso.
I appreciate that. What time frame would be best for you?
Usually anytime Saturday or Sunday I'm around home or can be around home.
Roger, I'll shoot you one Saturday morning sometime maybe, and we'll compare notes and see what we can do, Roger?
Yeah, sounds very good.
Okay, 7-3 for now, and thanks for being there. KC9VKV, B3PCP remote will be clear on this thing.
Roger, Roger, Rob 73, sir. Have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. This is the KC9VKV Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Victor, Alpha 3, Bravo Lima Victor, QSL.
There's an Alpha 3 Bravo something. Come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Victor, Alpha 3, Bravo Lima Victor here. Operator is Mark. Mark Alpha Romeo Charlie. QSL.
Copy that as Mark, Roger, Roger.
Mark, Roger, Roger.
This is, again, Operator Mark. I'm operating out of Ontario, Canada. Just checking on my first setup here. Weather is wonderful in Ontario, Canada. Check the equipment for the first as the season warms up. QSL.
Alrity, just curious, Mark, what radio is that you're running?
Mark, what radio is that you're running?
Splendid question there. I'm running a Zygu G90-Golf 90, the Zygu SDR radar pushing just about 20 watts. That's 20 watts using a link dipole thrown up into a tree over here.
All right, Mark, you're pretty, your audio needs to be work a little bit there. I think you're overdriving your ALC quite a bit. You have about a half a dB dynamic range. So when you squish your audio that far, it sometimes is very difficult to understand. We've found a 3 dB dynamic range to be the best we can get and still have words with life that you can understand them. And when you pass 3 dB dynamic range and head towards 2 and 1 and all that, the words just get squished so much it's just really hard to understand what they're saying. So we have a setup procedure if you might be interested.
We have a setup procedure if you might be interested.
Roger that. How am I coming in now? How do you copy me now,
A lot better, a lot better. Let me run through the setup procedure with you just for a moment if you have a chance. It starts with your compressor engaged at a 3. Compressor on and at a 3. It's a token amount. You'll never hear it on the air, but it does help us achieve our 3 dB dynamic range. So our setup starts with compressor engaged at a 3. Roger?
Compressor engaged at a 3. Roger?
Roger that, compressor. I copy compressor engaged at a 3.
Roger. Now move to your ALC with mic gain in hand. And usually we do this thing 100, 200, 300 for a setup, but I'm going to change that word. I want to change that word to one word called audio. And I want you to do the word audio and stretch it out for about 4 seconds as you look at your ALC with mic gain in hand and adjust it for mid-scale to 2/3. The word is audio. Roger, Roger?
Audio. Roger, Roger?
Copy that. That's audio. How do you copy?
Yes, sir. So the main thing is, though, to get your ALC at that mid-scale to 2/3 area. Roger?
Mid-scale to 2/3 area. Roger?
Roger that. ALC to mid-scale. That's audio. QSL?
Yes, sir. Exactly. I've tried that 100, 200, 300, and I guess it works best to some degree, but I think audio is a lot simpler. The other day I was having a little problem with my my preamp, and it's got a couple of audio controls, and I found myself just doing audio, and I'm looking at a VU meter, and it was just so simple. I could see the VU meter level, and bingo. That's a lot easier than that 1, 2, 3 stuff. So I have now officially changed my my setup. So the magic word for the ALC said it would now be audio. Roger?
ALC said it would now be audio. Roger?
Roger that. I appreciate this, and I'll keep tweaking here. I'm not very familiar with all of the settings on this. This is a new radio for going through the just a bit to make sure that I tweak on that. So if you would bear with me, I'll probably
pop off, and sometimes on again.
Roger, Roger, Mark. Well, you know, your audio curve, I don't have enough of a signal to really be able to advise you on that at this time. Maybe if my signal comes up to you during the next few minutes, or we'll be on until 5. So if my signal comes up substantially to you, maybe we can get the EQ set then. Roger?
Maybe we can get the EQ set then. Roger?
Roger that. You're coming in at about a 5x7. That's 5-7 over here in Ontario. I'll see what I can do to remedy my situation over, especially my audio. But I do appreciate you coming in. Thank you for taking my call. Wonderful to hear you. Again, this is Victor Alpha 3 Bravo Lima Victor VA3BLV going clear.
Roger. Mark, one more time on your radio. Slowly, give me your radio.
Slowly, give me your radio.
That's the Zygu Z90. Zygu is a Chinese radio. It's an SDR capable radio, pushing about 20 watts right now. And one more time, audio.
Roger. Well, you're pushing that 20 watts pretty hard, man. I want to tell you, you're expecting a lot out of that 20 watts, and the thing is, you're getting it. So anyway, Mark 73, sir. Thanks for dropping by. This is Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. My name is Jim. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
A radio you want to check out? Give me a shout.
Hello, Jim. Here is Kilo 4, Quebec, Juliet, Lima.
There's a Kilo 4 station out there. Come back slowly, phonetically, with a call sign.
Come back slowly, phonetically, with a call sign.
Here is Kilo 4, Quebec, Juliet, Lima. Gary, Golf, Alpha, Romeo, Yankee, and Northern Alabama, over.
Okay, I got Kilo 4 in Juliet, Lima, but there's some stuff in between there that I didn't copy. So I want you to come right up on your mic and give me that call sign one more time slowly, please, phonetically.
One more time slowly, please, phonetically.
All righty. Here is Kilo 4, Quebec, Juliet, Lima, over.
Quebec, Juliet, Lima, Roger, Roger there. And the name was Jeremy, is that a Roger?
Roger, Roger there. And the name was Jeremy, is that a Roger?
Name is Gary.
Roger, Jerry. Well, I was close, man. You're about a dB and a half over my noise level. So for that kind of situation, Jeremy came really close to Jerry, Roger.
Jeremy came really close to Jerry, Roger.
Yeah, I guess it is, but that is Gary with a G. I believe you said Jerry. Sounded like you said Jerry, which would be with a J, but it is Gary, Golf, Alpha, Romeo, Yankee. And good afternoon to you, sir. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, sir. Now, I have tracked you down to my Georgia SDR. You're about 20 over on my Georgia SDR. So what is your location?
20 over on my Georgia SDR. So what is your location?
I'm about 20 miles north of a little town called Scottsboro, about 45 miles east of Huntsville, Alabama, over.
Roger, Roger, Gary, and what radio are you running, sir?
Roger, Roger, Gary, and what radio are you running, sir?
Running an ICOM 756 Pro 3.
Alrighty, sir. If you'd be interested in a setup procedure, it starts with your compressor engaged at a 3. That's compressor on and at 3 to start our setup procedure.
Compressor on and at 3 to start our setup procedure.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to let it ride. I don't talk on this radio a whole lot anyway. And, of course, the bottom line on the setup procedure is one fellow will tell you it sounds beautiful, and the next fellow will tell you that it sounds like doo-doo. So I just kind of run default on most of it, and I don't even use compression most of the time, but I did engage some compression because it sounded like you were having problems copying.
Oh, I was up on the Milford PASDR, but when I went down to the Georgia, you're clean. So, but you know, a 3 is the same thing as a 6 compression-wise without the suck-up. I mean, you know, you can run a 3 and nobody would even hear it, and that's what I do. You know, and as far as your audio, you look to be maybe just a tad ever so hot into your ALC. We usually suggest that one run the ALC mid-scale to 2/3, and that will give you a 3 dB dynamic range and then an average percent of 80 to 85% peak modulation. Roger?
Percent of 80 to 85% peak modulation. Roger?
Alrighty. Well, I haven't looked at that lately, which is very possible. Let me look at that. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, looks like I am about 3/4 scale on the ALC. It could stand to be backed off just a little bit, but I guess I do run it not for a purpose. I'm only running about 400 watts, and sometimes you need a little extra to get through all the noise.
Roger, Gary, but the problem is when you push that ALC too hard, you start squishing that word past the 3 dB range, and when you do that, then it becomes more difficult to understand what the word is. So you actually become counterproductive when you become squished more than 3 dB. So for that reason, we say, you know, we try to set it up for a 3 dB dynamic range. Roger?
You know, we try to set it up for a 3 dB dynamic range. Roger?
Alrighty. Well, I've got you, and of course that would be when it flat tops on the scope, and I have seen that. Well, let me ask you a question while we're talking about setup and so on. Do you have any experience with a 857 Delta?
I don't know what an 850 Delta is, sir, but you know, we have a generic setup procedure that we can set up any transmitter minus that 0.5% of those that you know. There's got to be some problem, but we went extensively to a generic situation for a setup procedure. So, you know, is that a transmitter? If it's a transmitter, we can do it.
You know, is that a transmitter? If it's a transmitter, we can do it.
It's a mobile transceiver, and the situation is on it, whether it is meter sensitivity or whatever, but even with 95% mic gain and the compression at 50, you just barely see anything on the scope on the rig. So I guess the logical thing for me to do would put a watt meter on it and see what it looks like when you talk on the watt meter. I do know that it does put out full 100 watts. So if there is a problem, it's a problem with drive, but it could conceivably be a problem with just what you see on the meter on the rig. And it's a little bitty rig, and it's a little bitty meter.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think you're right. I think if it's putting out 100 watts on sideband, then you obviously have a metering problem. That would be the thing that I would think. And when you were talking just a minute ago about flat topping in you know, your ALC, it's not flat topping exactly that's happening there, because you know, your ALC meter is looking at the output of your limiter. That's something that you don't have any control over except the input to the limiter through your audio mic gain control. So your ALC meter is looking at the output of your limiter, and then when you start turning your mic gain up, you know, then that limiter, the ALC meter is starting to show that coming up, and our ideal place is between that mid-scale and 2/3 position. That's the sweet spot. Roger?
Between that mid-scale and 2/3 position, that's the sweet spot. Roger?
Yes, I understand that. Well, let's see here. Well, I can actually, that would be just about the position that you're speaking of right there.
Absolutely, yes. And your words are nice and loud, but they're not blurry. They're not, pushed so much that they sound like they're coming apart. So that's exactly where we would set you, sir.
Sound like they're coming apart, so that's exactly where we would set you, sir.
Okay. Well, what I can probably do at that point, I can probably increase the RF into the amplifier and get the power up that looks like that I may have lost on adjustment. Anyway, that's closer to what you were saying. K4QJL.
Right, now that's why we would want that compressor on at a 3. See, that works hand in hand with the AOC level that you just set. So if you would like to check it out, if you could engage your compressor at a 3, then we could see how that all comes together.
Compressor at a 3, then we could see how that all comes together.
Actually, I did have the compressor. Engaged at that point. And let's see here. The compression on this rig does not have numbers on it, but I can go roughly by position of the adjustment knob.
Yes, sir. Probably 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Roger?
Yes, sir. Probably 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Roger?
I'm sorry, I doubled with you.
Yes, sir. Probably 9:30 or 10 o'clock on that control. Roger?
Yes, sir. Probably 9:30 or 10 o'clock on that control. Roger? Yeah, something right about like that.
Yeah, and just out of curiosity, if you could give me a dead key for 3, don't say anything, just key for 3, and let me look at your audio.
For 3, don't say anything, just key for 3, and let me look at your audio.
All right, here we go.
Roger. Come up a little bit, but it was a long recovery time, so, if you don't pause more than 4 seconds between words, you would never hear it, Roger.
Pause more than 4 seconds between words, you would never hear it, Roger. Yeah, I understand. Well, this is my shop station, and I do have some background noise, stuff running occasionally, but this is my station B.
Yes, sir, Roger. Well, it sounds good now. I think, hopefully we're not too far off the mark on your RF output. Again, though, maybe just, a question of touching that drive just a tad, maybe not.
A question of touching that drive just a tad, maybe not. Yeah, let's see what that does. Yeah, that brought it on up there. At that point, I'm running a little more power into the ALS 600, and of course, I'm sure you know, the ALS 600 only does about, conservatively 400, 500 watts. It's capable of around 600, but I generally don't run it before.
Roger there, Gary. Well, gosh, it's sounding good. And if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to our YouTube Qso-Vlog position. This recording will be cut number 1 of a series of 2,000 Qso-Vlog recordings. This will be cut number 1 regardless of what YouTube says. So it's on a YouTube search, KC9VKV logbook. Roger?
On a YouTube search, KC9VKV logbook. Roger?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. And I will let you carry on to the next check-in. Have a great rest of the day, K4QJL.
Roger, Gary. 73, sir. You have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. You are getting out just fine. Hear you great in Georgia as always. Nothing changed on your end. Good afternoon and carry on. Always good to hear you keeping things active. N6PRX.
Roger, N6PRX. You sounded really good. I was on the Georgia SDR. What's your location?
Georgia SDR. What's your location? I'm about 25 miles south of the Atlanta airport, a little town here called Tyrone, right by Peachtree City, and we just got out from under a nasty, ugly thunderstorm.
Yes, sir. I was hearing that earlier. I knew it was between me and Southland there for sure, but I couldn't say exactly where it was, Roger. Was it in Atlanta pretty much?
Yes, Roger. Was it in Atlanta pretty much? Yeah, like most of them, it came up from down in the Mississippi area and started down towards the Gulf, and it just kind of come up heading northeast, and it seems to hit us pretty good all the time in the spring.
Roger. What's the name there?
Roger. What's the name there? Name is Marty, and we have worked before. You recorded me a couple times along the way with various different rigs as well. But I've been sitting here just kind of idly sitting by. I was able to hook stuff back up. We had hail fall this afternoon, thunderclaps that shook the house and scared the dog. And the dog scared so much his teeth were chattering. I go, man, that's pretty significant. I now have a phone call, so I'll let you go here, N6PRX.
Roger, Marty. Thanks for dropping by, 73, sir, and thanks for waiting through the thunderstorm with us. We'll catch you later. It's KC9VKV, Friday afternoon, Qso-Vlog net, and if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Give me a shout.
KC9VKV from Whiskey 4, Juliet Bravo.
So Whiskey 4 station, come back slowly phonetically with the call sign?
Whiskey 4, Juliet, Bravo, Bravo. Say again, Whiskey 4, Juliet, Bravo, Bravo. Over.
Juliet, Bravo, Bravo. Roger, what's the name there?
Oh, Bravo, Roger. What's the name there?
Name here's Joel, Juliet, Oscar, Echo, Lima. I'm located just north of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. On the other side of the state from the last guy you just, well, he's in Georgia, but I'm across the state from him, over.
Roger that, Joel. And what radio are you running, sir?
I have got an ICOM 7300, and I've got a little adapter in the back of it running over to a SDR Play RSP-1A for a receiver, over.
Roger that. So you're not using the 7300 receiver?
I could. I just got this new receiver this past week and playing around with it, over.
Roger that. Well, if you'd be interested in our transmit setup procedure, starts with you engaging your compressor at a 3. Sounds like you might be running a little hotter than a 3 on your compressor at the moment, Roger.
I can back it off a little bit. This is Whiskey 4, Juliet, Bravo, Bravo, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over.
Roger, so our setup procedure starts with you engaging a compressor at a 3. It's a token amount and something you would never hear on the air, but it does help us get to our 3 dB dynamic range position. So after we get our compressor in line at a 3, go to your ALC, and with mic gain in hand, and we've got a new word now for checking our audio. The word is called audio. It's a stretched A, audio, for 4 seconds as you adjust your mic gain until your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Roger.
Okay, let me get the meter on the screen. Wait.
this is W4JVB. Audio. Over.
Yes, sir. Now, you say that audio just like you would say any other word. Audio, and you adjust the mic gain until that is mid-scale to 2/3. But don't stress on the A. Just a normal A, just like you would normally be speaking, Roger?
Just like you would normally be speaking, Roger.
Okay. Audio.
Alrighty, and now why don't you give me about 10 or 15 seconds and tell me about your antenna system.
Okay, I am just running an off-center bit dipole up about 30 feet in the middle of my backyard, and
Roger, Joe. We're getting a lot of lightning strikes here. It's one of those really noisy ones somewhere. It's not around here, I don't think, but it's somewhere between you and I or in our vicinity, Roger.
Oh yeah, we had the storms come through earlier this morning, and we're forecast to have more thunderstorms.
Let me check my local antenna and talk to me just for a minute. Let me look at my local antenna.
Okay. Tomorrow will be a nice day. Hopefully, can get out and mow the grass. So.
Roger, still best copy is down in Georgia on the Georgia SDR. But I think we've about got you there. I was going to try to get some EQ going for you, but I don't have quite as good a signal as what I would like when I work with a person's EQ, you know, because part of what I'm doing is I'm looking at my my frequency meter, my spectrum analyzer, and when the audio gets into mixed with noise, you start looking at a lot of noise on the spectrum analyzer in addition to the voice. And when the voice gets really compromised down into the noise, you can't really even use the spectrum analyzer at all because it's mainly looking at noise, channel noise, Roger.
Channel noise, Roger.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, unfortunately, the 73 only, the 7300 only has bass and treble. There's no mid. I know I need some emphasis on the mid, but it is what it is. Over.
Yeah, no, you know, and the thing is, an equalizer is designed to balance the top to the mid-range and the bottom to the mid-range. So it's important that you keep the mid-range flat. So much so that ICOM said if we want to keep that mid-range flat, why even show it? We'll just, that will be a fixed position, and so then it just becomes a simplified, and it just is beautiful just to have that two-band EQ, you know, because you're just striking a balance between the top to the mid-range and the bottom to the mid-range. So I would say, you know, depending, where is your treble EQ now? Is it like, well, I would suggest running 2 clicks more treble EQ than where you are, Roger?
Treble EQ than where you are, Roger?
Yeah, I understand. Unfortunately, I think the treble's as high as it'll go, and I'm looking right now. The bass is a little higher than I would like, so I might lower it a notch, but I'm as high as I can go on the treble. Over.
Yes, sir. And your bass is still rolling off at like about 250 cycles, so you could use, 2 clicks more bass than what you've got there, and still, have a nice curve, Roger.
Well, have a nice curve, Roger.
That makes sense to me. Okay, well, I appreciate it. I'm still doing some work over here. It's not quite the end of the workday, and heard you over here and thought I would give you a shot. Never heard you on here before, but that's not. I'm not on 40 meters a lot. Like I said, I was playing around with the RSP-1A and had 2 virtual receivers going, and 20 meters died and 40 meters came alive. So I was just kind of listening across both bands. But I'll let you go. I enjoyed it. I appreciate the assistance with the audio, and I hope to check you again. I did not get your name, but 7-3, and have a good evening. It's W4JDB.
Roger, Roger, Joel. Name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and this is the KC9VKV Qso-Vlog net. And if you want to hear your audio, we have been recording now since 3:30, and we record till 5. So if you want to hear your audio, you go to YouTube, do a call letter search for KC9VKV, that's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. That will take you to our YouTube Qso-Vlog page, where we're currently featuring over 2,000 recordings. This will be cut number 1 in that series, so regardless of what YouTube says. So it's YouTube, KC9VKV logbook, and we'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Okay, sounds good. Again, have a good evening, and have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later. 7-3, W4JDB.
Roger, Roger, Joel 73. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
November 2, Foxtrot X-ray Tango.
There's that station again. It's November 2. Sir, give me the whole thing slowly phonetically.
Give me the whole thing slowly phonetically.
November 2, Foxtrot X-ray Tango. Name is Gus, Golf Uniform Sierra. We're in New Jersey.
Roger, Roger. Foxtrot X-ray Tango. That's a Roger?
X-ray Tango. That's a Roger?
That's a Roger.
And what was the name again?
Say, what was the name again?
Gus, Golf Uniform Sierra.
Roger, Gus. And what radio are you running, sir?
Roger, Gus. And what radio are you running, sir?
I'm using a Yaesu FTDX 5000.
Roger, sir. All right. If you would, why don't you give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system? I'll look around and see if I can find a better path for us.
I'll look around and see if I can find a better path for us.
Okay, Jim, a wire. I have a NFED 40/10 that goes out my window over my door sill up 30 feet into a tree, and then kind of zigzags down the other side of the tree. But it seems to work out for me. I'm using a Tango Lima 922 amplifier from Kenwood, and we're doing about 600 watts.
Roger, Roger, Gus. Well, let's see. Have me a little background noise in there. What I'm interested in maybe is what distance you are from your microphone. Would you be past 4 or 5 inches from your mic?
Past 4 or 5 inches from your mic?
That's correct. The mic is an M100, which happens to be a dual capsule. I don't know how Yaesu does it, but it's a dual capsule condenser dynamic microphone, and I'm rolling off the top. I'm just using the bottom.
Yes, sir. Well, what I would suggest, if you would, we have a setup procedure that we'll get to the end of that and maybe get rid of some of that background noise. It has to do with, starting with your compressor in line, but only at a 3. Compression on, but only at a 3. It's a token amount, and you'll never hear it on the air, but it begins our setup procedures for reaching a 3 dB dynamic range. So it would be a compressor on at a 3, Roger?
It would be a compressor on at a 3, Roger?
Okay, the nomenclature is from 1 to or 0 to 100, so I can back it down to about 30, I guess, and that'll be about 3.
Yes, sir, exactly. 30 on that compressor is ideal. That's exactly what we're talking about. Then once we get there, move to your ALC with mic gain in hand. And we're using a new word now for setting your mic gain and the ALC level. The word is audio. And audio, when you stretch it out for about 4 seconds, so it's audio. And that makes it a lot easier to tune that ALC meter than the way we were doing it before with speaking rapidly. Roger?
We're doing it before with speaking rapidly. Roger?
Roger, roger. Audio, audio, audio. I'm bringing it down to about, 1/3, I guess. No, actually 3/3. 3/3.
Right, so the magic number is mid-scale to 2/3. From the midpoint to 2/3. Roger?
Midpoint to 2/3. Roger?
Okay, hello, audio, 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 audio. That should be right.
Yes, sir. Sounds really nice. Now, let's go to your EQ page. And if you can find that, we'll crank in a little top-end EQ.
We'll crank in a little top-end EQ.
You want to go to the top end?
Yes, treble EQ plus 2 from where you are. Treble boost, 2 clicks from where you are.
Treble boost, 2 clicks from where you are.
Okay, let me get into... I wanted to ask you something about bandwidth for transmitting, which is 104. I usually start there. I know you want to go to the treble. The bandwidth's at 3,000. Is that okay?
Well, actually, you want to be 100 to 2,900. When you exceed 2,900, do you have people start coming looking for you with pitchforks, Roger?
Start coming looking for you with pitchforks, Roger?
Roger. Okay, I went down to between 1 and 2,900 on the bandwidth.
Yes, sir. We can get you a nice curve with 100 to 2,900. There's no reason to exceed 2,900, Roger.
Reason to exceed 2,900, Roger.
Roger. Okay, I'm making my way up to the high frequencies, which would be my 158 menu indication. And that's at 2,600.
All right, so you're at 2.6K. Is that a Roger on your treble EQ?
2.6K. Is that a Roger on your treble EQ?
That's a Roger.
All right, and what is your width? Is it like a 4? We want to put that on a 4, Roger.
Like a 4? We want to put that on a 4, Roger.
Okay, my level is 4, and my bandwidth is 4.
Yes, sir. Okay, so your width is 4. That's what I was getting at. Now, I want you to go 2 clicks boost from where you are.
I want you to go 2 clicks boost from where you are.
Okay, I'm up at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All right, yeah. Give me 2 more. What's your top end boost? Is it like 10?
Your top end boost, is it like 10?
Yeah, Roger. I'm at 10 now.
Okay. Why don't you give me about 15 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, and let me listen to you for a minute.
Antenna system, and let me listen to you for a minute.
Okay. My antenna system goes up to a tree about 30 foot. It's a N-fed, half-wave N-fed antenna, which works pretty good in the location and under the circumstances that I'm in, because I'm in a garden apartment. And it seems to do well for me. So back to you.
Yes, sir. Now, on your bottom end, your base, is that frequency, is that like 100 cycles?
Is that frequency, is that like 100 cycles?
Let me QSY there. And that's 100 cycles.
Yes, sir. 100 cycles and a 4 width. 4 widths, Roger.
And a 4 width. 4 widths, Roger.
Level is 2, and the bandwidth is 4, correct.
All right, so give me 2 clicks boost from where you are to a 4. 2 clicks boost from where you are, Roger.
4. 2 clicks boost from where you are, Roger.
My bandwidth was 4, so do you want me to go to level and give it 2 clicks?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm at 0 equalizer level on the base.
Okay, so you're plus or minus 0 on the base control, Roger. No, neither cut nor boost, Roger. You're flat.
Control, Roger. No, neither cut nor boost, Roger. You're flat.
That's correct. I'm flat. I'm flat with a 4 level and a 200 KC.
Oh, you're 200. Bring that to 100. Bring your EQ on the bottom into 100 cycles, Roger.
EQ on the bottom into 100 cycles, Roger.
I'm sorry, I was at 100. I'm at 100 frequency, and my level is my bandwidth is 4, and my level EQ level is at 0, flat.
Roger. Now give me a +2 on that bottom base control. Boost 2 clicks from where you are. I want to hear what that sounds like.
2 clicks from where you are. I want to hear what that sounds like.
You're saying the level? Bring up the level too?
Yes, sir. Boost 2 clicks, base EQ.
Boost 2 clicks, base EQ.
Got it there now. That's a boost of 2, and I don't know whether my proximity to this microphone, it's got like a coupler on it that that funnels your voice into the capsule. But this is what I sound like about 6 inches away.
Yes, sir. Now, just out of curiosity, I think we got a pretty good curve, but I'm interested in your dual diaphragm microphone, and I want you to, if you could, just give me the electret condenser microphone only. Electret condenser microphone aspect of that mic only.
Electret condenser microphone aspect of that mic only.
Okay, this is condenser only. And I've got the dynamic switch off.
Okay, so you can do either or both. Is that a Roger?
You can do either or both. Is that a Roger?
That's a Roger. It's sort of a weird microphone that they can do the condenser and dynamic at the same time, and then they have a slight roll off for each side. For lows or highs if you want to do that. So yes, you can do both, or you can do one or the other.
Roger. Well, I think I'm hearing some collision in the mid frequencies. It sounds like they might be fighting each other in the mid ranges. So I would want to hear just the condenser microphone, only for a moment. Roger.
Condenser microphone only for a moment. Roger.
Yeah, that's what I was speaking to you on. Although it has the roll off, the high roll off. The low roll off is on.
All right, now I want you to give me the dynamic mic only, Roger.
The dynamic mic only, Roger.
Yeah, I don't know if I lost you or you dropped out or what's going on. But this is the dynamic only with the low cutoff. Dynamic only with the low cutoff.
Alrighty, and then go back to the condenser mic, the electret.
Go back to the condenser mic, the electret.
Okay, this is condenser only. I've spoken to people and they said that it sounded better with both on, but, everybody has a different ear. So back to you.
Yes, I thought I was hearing a little bit of fighting each other in the mid-range when both were on. I'm just kind of curious why, when you went to the electret part, that I didn't hear more top end, which I would have thought in comparison, direct comparison between a dynamic microphone and a condenser microphone, there should be quite a top end difference there, with the electret being much more articulated than the dynamic. But I'm not hearing that difference, Roger.
The dynamic, but I'm not hearing that difference, Roger.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't usually hear the change. If I do them one at a time and I monitor myself, sometimes I can do it. But it's difficult to make the comparison when you're listening yourself on the monitor. So this is just the condenser now.
Roger, Gus. Well, I'm having a hard time hearing the difference, you know, and I'm my ears are, you know, my voice isn't involved in what I'm hearing, so I can concentrate on what's going on, and I'm not really perceiving much of a difference between the two, Roger.
Much of a difference between the two, Roger.
Roger, well, I just went to both. I was wondering if there was even a difference that way. Before I was speaking to you just with the condenser. Now I've got them both turned on. Back to you.
Roger, I guess both would be the best way. I'm not hearing quite as much of what I thought I was hearing as far as the two elements fighting each other a little bit in the mids. So I would run both of them. Like I said, it doesn't make a heck of a lot of difference. It doesn't seem to, between the one and the other, and putting them together, it even makes less of a difference, Roger.
Together, it even makes less of a difference, Roger.
Roger, how's my bottom end compared to my high end? And I know that you like the mid-range flat, so this is what you've instructed me to do, and so this is what I sound like following your instructions.
Roger, Roger. Well, I can not get you on my local receiver, which is good down to 100 cycles. My monitor system is good down to 50 cycles. So usually I like to get you on, get one on my local antenna, my local receiver, or the Arlington SDR. But I'm looking at you on the Milford SDR, and you seem to be rolling out at about 300 cycles. So I'm assuming that Milford is not flat. Milford rolls off on the bottom end. So I'm thinking that you're down good to 200 cycles. So I would just call it close enough, Roger.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know. Yeah, it's very hard to listen to yourself and try an EQ and do the right thing with the compressor and all. So, and I've got like 5 different microphones that I can use. So, but I figured I'd try this one on you. Since it's a double capsule, and what the results would be. So thank you very much. I'll listen for myself on YouTube, and thank you for your service. Back to you.
Roger, Roger there. I appreciate your checking in, and like I say, we'll have this uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. So 73, sir. Have yourself a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Give me a shout. KB3RDT.
There was somebody have a question? Go ahead.
Whiskey Echo 6, Uniform Sierra November. Name here is Chris. Jim, I have a question on your audio. What are you doing differently this week than you did last week?
Recuperating from a cold.
Huh, that's interesting. Your audio was so clean last week, it scared me to death. Anyway, didn't sound like yourself. I believe Charlie mentioned that last week too when he was on the air. Anyway, all right, appreciate it. I'm just curious. I didn't hear the, what I call, I didn't hear you breathing last week. Let me put it that way. I can hear you're taking breaths this week, so, okay, just curious. I don't really need a radio check, I don't think. Everything looks good from my end, but I wouldn't know. My voice only goes from about 1,000 cycles up to about 2,500. After that is gone. So I'm on the low end of the spectrum. Thanks for the check. We'll catch you later. Have a good day. 7-3s, WE6USM.
Roger, Chris. Come back slowly with your call sign, please.
Slowly with your call sign, please. Whiskey Echo 6, Uniform Sierra November, and I'm in Cleveland, Ohio.
Roger, Chris. And I have a mic preamp that is playing problems. I've replaced it since last week, but this one is also exhibiting the same kind of thing. I'll set 0 in the beginning, and by the time I'm ending, my 0 level will be -2. So, and I'm all the way out on my output, so I have to crank my input up to try to bring it up. And of course, then I'm getting more compression than what I had originally wanted to have. Roger?
Roger, I was just curious. It was really clean last week, and I'm going, what do you do different? You know, I'm just curious. Mine looks good on the spectrum to me. I don't know, and I really can't tell. Just like I said, my voice is so low, it's in the lower. But anyway, yeah, we're running just for your reference, we're running a TS590SG with an MP60 microphone on a boom. It's about an inch from my mouth, so. And all the settings are running normal. About 50% on the ALC and 30% on the compression. And I've got an equalizer pattern. This bloody thing's got an 18-band equalizer in it. It's a nightmare to set up. It's taken me a long time to get it to where it is. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I don't see anything unusual in this one, but you never know. So anyway, appreciate the time. Have a good weekend, and I'm going to slide back out of here and go get a fresh cup of coffee. WE6USM.
Roger, Chris. Well, I'll tell you some advice on that multiband EQ, and that is that we want to keep everything from 400 cycles to 1.4K flat. So all of those controls between 400 cycles and 1.4K, we want those flat. And then for the top end EQ, we want to go up to 2.6K at 4 width. And that would be the hinge point for the top end that we want to stress. 2.6K with a 4 width. And, wherever that takes you to get your top end nice and bright. And then on the bottom end, it's 100 cycles on a 4 width, and whatever you need to balance to the mid-range at that point. 100 cycles, 4 width, and then whatever intensity you need to balance to the mid. So, Roger?
You need to balance to the mid. So, Roger? Okay, thanks. I'll look at it. It's actually got one band is 0, the next one's 300, the next one's 600. It's an odd step on this Kenwood. But as of right now, everything 600 and below, let's see, minus 3 dB at 600, minus 6 at 300, and a minus 9 at 0. So I'm trying to roll the low end off to keep it from overdriving. If I go to anything else, let's see, this would be high band 1 configuration, and this is the current configuration here. So anyway, like I said, and this actually looks better on the spectrum than the high band 1. I don't know how it sounds on your end, but since you have never heard me in person, it makes it a little difficult to tell.
Yes, sir. Well, where you are, I think, is better than that high boost 1. And I was thinking that you might have a variable EQ, not EQ, but that you could adjust the frequency range of each of your equalizers, like a parametric. Is that a Roger? But you don't have parametric, Roger?
But you don't have parametric, Roger? Roger, there's no parametric. It's just an 18-band equalizer. It goes from 0 to 5100. Of course, everything above 3,000 is shut down.
Yeah, you don't want to shut that down too fast, though, because there is content there. I have found 2.6 to be the ideal push frequency for top-end syllabic concerns, but in the normal EQ, you get 1 KC, 2 KC, 4 KC, like that. So they just step over the magic number there. So I wind up pushing 2 and 4 to get 2.6. Roger?
4 to get 2.6. Roger? Roger. Yeah, no, everything from 900 up is semi-flat within 1 or 2 dB of each other all the way across the board to about 3,000. Then it rolls off on the top end, starting at 3,300 and starts going down from there. So, yeah, it took me a while to figure this out and fun playing with it, but I think I pretty well got it locked in, or at least I hope I do.
Well, it's very intelligible, and that's what it's all about: getting your signal from one point to the other and being understood. Although you're fighting noise and you're fighting 7 DX stations on top of you, you want your audio to be perceived in the words. That's the magic thing, Roger.
Words. That's the magic thing, Roger. Roger. All right. I'm dry on the coffee pot. I got to go get some coffee. Have a good weekend. Take care of yourself, and we'll look forward to eavesdropping next week. Catch you later. 7-3 WE6 USM.
Roger, Chris, and we will be posting this recording up on YouTube by Friday. I'm sorry, by Saturday noon. Tomorrow noontime we'll have it posted. So if you want to hear your audio, go to YouTube, do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That will take you directly to this recording. It will be cut number 1 of a series of 2,000. So 73, Chris, and then we'll catch you later, sir. This is KC9VKV, and gosh, I see by the wall, there's a dead fly. It's an old story, but we got to get out of here. So let me say 3s, 73 to everyone, and hopefully those that participated would, be able to hear their audio if you go to YouTube and do that call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, and we'll have it uploaded by tomorrow at noon. So we will be returning now this frequency to normal amateur radio use. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, clear.
Kilo Victor, clear.
73 there, Jim, W4 Oscar Yankee.
73 there, Jim, KB3 RDT.
Roger, 3's all. Catch you later. KC9VKV, clear.
Catch you later. KC9VKV, clear.